All right. If you're clicking this later after the live has ended, hello. This weekend is the last chance to grab the Maya for Animators workshop before it begins. It starts on Monday. So, here's one of the demo scenes that I was making yesterday for it. So, want to do some cool stuff. But today we're going to talk about studio stuff. I made that video about trying to run an animation studio and it going the way it did, and I thought we should do a Q&A because we had lots of questions in the comments and a lot of people getting a lot of stuff wrong in the comments, and I wanted to provide a space to chat about it. So here we are. How's everyone doing? Oh, and if anybody does want to grab the Maya for Animators workshop that starts on Monday, there's a code in the description. Click it or copy it. It'll get you 15% off the workshop sale price. The Lord of the Rings themed code. So, all right, let's take a look at chat. Oh, let me make chat taller so I can actually follow it. There we go. All right. How's everyone doing? Now that I'm live, YouTube will probably start showing it to people, so I expect this to potentially... Oh yeah, there we go. Nice. All right. So wait, if you would start animation by zero again, what would be your first project? Like if I started over completely, I was a brand new animator starting out today. What was my first project? Probably focus on learning before I worry too much about making and projects, but I'd say... I mean, knowing me, if I were starting today, I'd probably pick something way too ambitious and, try to do something too big. But I don't know. My good answer would be I would do a lot of little things. If I were learning animation right now from the beginning, I'd do a lot of little stuff. A head turn, a character smiling, like really small stuff, not these massive, 14-second shots. Let's see. What's up, Jen? It's the first time I'm watching live and even better from the beginning. Oh, man. Oh, I haven't used this in a long time. Let me see if it still works.
Welcome.
I can't actually hear myself to know if that worked, but I'm assuming it worked. Let me also make sure that... Yes, okay. I had to make sure my Spotify was set up properly. Wait. Check. Oh, these are on. My headphones are on. I can hear myself through here. I can check the levels. Yeah, we're good. Turn these down so they don't distract me again. All right. Does anybody have any questions? I thought we could do kind of a hangout. Talk about some stuff. What's the goal of this live stream? There are two goals of this live stream. Selfishly, I'm hoping to promote my workshop since this last weekend is the last time to grab it, and then it starts on Monday, and I've been doing a lot of work to get ready for it. So selfishly, that's one of my goals, is to promote the workshop in case anybody hasn't heard about it yet. 'Cause I'm very proud of it. But the title and thumbnail would indicate the real purpose of this particular live stream Q&A thing is I made a video recently on trying and failing to build an animation studio, and I thought that would be a good thing to dive deeper into, because I will be making a video, probably two videos. I'll probably be making two additional videos kind of on the topic, but specifically on the projects that I worked on. The music video that I referenced in that other video, I'll be making a video specifically about the music video experience, and then the other one, if people want it, is the one about the fox character. So the two things that are on the thumbnail of the video. But I'm not in those videos. I'm not diving much deeper into the actual kind of behind the scenes of running the studio, and I don't expect it to be its own part 2 video. I think I've said what I needed to say, so I figured anybody wanted to talk about that process, had any questions, or just wanted to, I don't know, hear about that experience of trying to build a studio, I figured that is what this could be. So we could dive in a little bit deeper and talk more specifically about anything you wanted to know. Because there's a lot, I mean, I filmed that video 3 times. I filmed 3 different versions of the video, and I ended up going with the one I did. But it was so hard to condense a year of my life down into a 13-minute video or whatever it was, and to keep it interesting so that you wouldn't get bored watching the video. So, but there's so much still to say. So if anyone wants to know any of that stuff, that's what we're here for. Massive 14-second shots. Animator who actually knows what he's doing. 14 seconds is a long time. 4 seconds is a long time. Let's see. Are you planning on teaching Blender animation or partnering with a Blender animator to teach it? I am planning on getting to that point. If you actually, do I have it open? Hang on a second. Where's my? There you are. What the heck? Didn't know that did that. Yeah, if you go to my website, you'll see, if you scroll down a bit, you'll see that I'm currently working on, I have my Maya for Animators workshop, which is the thing starting on Monday. And I'm working on Blender and Unreal courses as well. It's going to be a while before these are ready. So if you want to know when they happen, join the waitlist. And I'm not, it's literally just a little Google form. You put your name and you say you're interested in it. That way, when I do get it done, I'll just send you a message saying it's here if you want it. But it's like super low key. I also have that for my personal mentorship, which is listed down here. It's currently sold out, but I'm going to be introducing potentially some new spots, but also some group. Is it written anywhere? Yeah. Limited attendee group classes. So if you want to take any classes with me, join the waitlist. And so on. While this is here, I'll pull these back up. These are for the workshop. There's some cool stuff I was doing. This is a constraints demo for the workshop. Having interesting constraint setups with one-handed weapons, two-handed weapons, and then this is a reverse constraint, actually, with a bunch of different things. There's lighting and blah, 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 blah. Anyway. What does the fox say? Ring, ding, 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 etc. Oi, already been through your workshop. It's helped a ton, but I need a little reassurance that I'm not missing a totally different one. No, if you took the Maya workshop last year, this one is very similar. I've added a little bit to it, but it's very much based on the same workshop, so it's not wildly different. It's just a little bit updated. And if you did take the workshop last time and you want to take it again, check your email, because I sent out like special discount codes so that you could retake it at a really low price, and you're basically just getting the new stuff. And then you get to retake it. While I don't have the specifics hammered out yet, and I won't until Monday, we are 90% likely to have... Oh, actually, I need to reply to somebody too. We are 90% likely to have 1 to 2 special guest animators, guest speakers, come do a demo Q&A thing during the workshop. I need to get back to some people. And I have another meeting next week. But anyway, workshop's going to be action-packed. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's talk about the studio. Anyone have any studio questions? Here we go. Here's a couple. If you have the chance to found a new studio again, would you do it? If yes, could you say why? Would be great. Well, here's the thing. I never like planned on... hang on, how do I expand this? I never planned on having a studio. Like, that was never a goal or an aspiration of mine. A lot of people have that as like, I want to have a studio one day. I never had that. I never cared. It never appealed to me. But when the opportunity presented itself, I wasn't going to turn it down, because it was like, well, I want to see where this goes. And so that's what I did. So it's not like, you know, owning and running my own studio was ever, it's not like that was ever something that I, some goal bucket list item that I was like gearing towards. It had crossed my mind, but I'd never really thought about it much. A lot of people say that, like, I want to start a studio. And for some people, that's totally fine. For other people, I'm not sure why it's such a popular idea, because you don't need a studio to make the stuff you want to make. Everyone seems to think, especially younger animators, I hear that a lot, like, I'm going to start my own studio so I can make the stuff I want to make. Like, you can just do that. You don't have to have a studio. It's a lot of paperwork and overhead and headache to actually run a business and run a studio. You could just do it and like hire friends or bring on people. Like, I don't know, it's kind of the same thing, but it's just interesting to me. But anyway, to answer your question, if I had the chance to found a new studio, would I do it again? Maybe, if the opportunity, if the circumstances were very, very specific. Like, if I started a project or a series of projects or something like that, if I started doing something that I really enjoyed and it was doing really well and it was making money to the point that I could hire people to continue doing it and basically allow it to scale up and scale back my time, effectively that's building a studio. It's like, yeah, I'd be down for that, but I'm not actively pursuing any kind of studio founding again. Yeah, like if I did something that was really fun and really cool and did really well and I could grow it into something and through that have a studio, then like, sure. But that's really the only version of that I'd say yes to. Hello, Sorade. Good to know you. I had a lot of knowledge from you about animation and other stuff. Greetings from Indonesia. Hello. Where is everybody from, by the way? Everybody who's here, sound off. Where you at? Where in the world is everybody? And where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? We know you had to hire talent to make it, but what did you do about rendering the animation? Did you have a render farm? Nope, didn't need one. I rendered in Unreal. The music video that I showed in that video was basically all assembled in Unreal. The character was modeled, I think the character was modeled in ZBrush and Maya. Rigging, I assume, was done in Maya. I'm not actually entirely sure. Probably Maya, though. Texturing was in Substance Painter. The shader was custom Unreal shader. Animation was done, some of it in Maya, the animation that we had. Other was motion capture. Some of it cleaned up in Maya, some of it just sent straight to Unreal. And everything else beyond that was Unreal Engine. Yeah, almost every part of the music video was done in Unreal, including the rendering. It was the, what do you call it? I'm blanking. I was up all night last night, so I'm very sluggish mentally today. But yeah, no, I did not need a render farm because I would just leave it. Some shots I would literally just hit render. I'd wait 20 minutes and then it was done. Other shots I'd let it run overnight if it was gonna be really heavy. But I'm running a RTX 4090 in my PC, so rendering is really not that much of an issue. But yeah, that was kind of the plan there. I didn't need to worry about a render farm. I'm surprised there's not more questions about this whole studio thing. There's not a lot of questions, unless oh my gosh, nope, it just hadn't updated. Yeah, it just hadn't updated because suddenly I went from nothing to tons of comments just popping up. That's very weird. Okay, well now I can answer these. When some new videos? Keep on doing it, you're the best. New video coming on Sunday? I think the next video is done. The next video is already on my channel. It's unlisted, so you can't find it. It's secret. I have to make a thumbnail. And then I'm filming the next one. I was supposed to film it today, but I was up all night last night. Like literally, I finished the thing I was working on at 7 in the morning, and then I had a meeting at 10, and I was like, I'm not going to sleep. I won't wake up. So anyway, I'm not in a great state to film a video and be energetic. I'm very tired. And my eyes keep I feel like my eyes are going in different directions. But yeah, new video on Sunday. I'm currently working on building an animation studio in uncharted waters in Nigeria. Hope you have waterproof computers. Wait, do I have it? There it is. Ha ha ha. But I'm currently in the UK doing a master's in computer animation. I found that video really scary. Yeah, I mean, good luck to you. Building a studio is a lot of work. If you want to build a studio, give it a try. But I'll also throw out an additional piece of information that counters that to say that a lot of people keep saying they want to build a studio, and I don't know why. Just make stuff. You don't need a studio to make stuff. It's a lot more work to have it as part of a whole studio, but do you. If you want to do it, do it. Don't let me discourage you. I'm just throwing out 2 different pieces of advice in case you need to hear one or both of them. Is the mentorship for all levels of ability? The workshop, you mean? Yeah, the workshop is, it's beginner friendly. So I start at the beginning and I show the foundation of what makes Maya tick. And then I ramp into really cool advanced stuff that if you are a super beginner, I might lose you, but that's why it's recorded. That's why there's a recording, so that you can revisit it whenever you need to. That way you can see it, you get a handle on it, and you go, okay, and then you know what to expect. But if the buttons I'm pushing are beyond your skill level, you at least know what you're aiming for. And then when you need to figure out, like, what were those things to do that thing I saw, you can just revisit the recording. So it's beginner friendly. Actually, I could just show you the, if you look at my site and you scroll to the bottom, actually, let me go to the Maya page. Go to the Maya page. Starts in 2 days. There's all this stuff. There's a question. Is it for beginners or advanced? So there's a answer there. And then there's a bunch of reviews that basically say that if you are a new student, it'll help you. And there's other ones in here that say if you're a 7-year veteran, you'll have plenty to learn. So yes, it's friendly to all levels. There's one of the demos from it. Can I see the music video that you animated in the studio? I will not show it here because it's not yet on YouTube. It hasn't been posted yet where it's going to go. And so I can't show it yet. So I will do my video on the music video experience after the actual music video goes live on the platform. I'm not sure when that is exactly. How big do you think Unreal will be in the future of animation? Massive. I think Unreal is going to be a really, really big deal. I was just animating an Unreal today. Well, not animating. I was posing. I was posing a character, or last night. So I was up all night. I was working on stuff for Unreal Engine. Secrets. Okay, so Wade, in the past I've considered the idea of wanting to found an animation studio. What would you say is a good roadmap to going about doing so? Do you have to have worked in the industry? You don't have to have worked in the industry. There are plenty of studios that don't have industry experience, but it sure does help. Because seeing how a good studio functions and seeing how not to do certain things is very important. If a normal person just decides to start a studio, you're going to make mistakes, which is not a bad thing because everybody makes mistakes, but you'll make more of them because you won't have any experience to guide you. Having worked at DreamWorks was very helpful for even the stuff that I did, even though there's still a lot I didn't know. The stuff I did know came from my time at DreamWorks, and so it does help to have industry experience, but it's not essential. You can get by without it, but you just have to plan that much more intensely. I'm gonna unpin my message from the top here. Wow, we got people from all over the place. Hold on a second. I just got to the part where people shared where they're at. Dubai, Alabama, Hungary, Bay Area, Ohio, Norway. Norway is the next place I want to visit. I have more Norwegian heritage, like ratio-wise, than anything else. I've never been. Toronto, Poland, Virginia. Oh, hey. Surrender. Nashville, London. I'm from LA. I think you meant hire. I'm reading this. It says, I'm from LA. If you need to fire a VFX artist, I'm here for you. I think you meant to say hire. but you've invited me to fire you, so I'll keep that in mind. At what point did you know that animation was the 3D discipline for you, rather than sculpting, modeling, etc.? You know, if I can be honest, I'm still not convinced that animation is the 3D discipline for me. Because you know what I really love? Effects. I really love effects. I feel like I am literally like 51% animator, 49% effects artist. Or at least what I would like to be. I've always struggled with that. I've always enjoyed the effects type stuff, and it's just, I've specialized into animation because that's what I wanted to do more. But I am actively also trying to learn effects on the side, and I would happily take an effects job as well as an animation job. I think they're both super cool. All right, let's see. Oh, here we go. Here's some questions. Where did you find the budget to start the first couple projects? Great question. So studio-wise, okay, so I have to figure out exactly how I want to describe this. There is a large part of the whole studio venture that you don't know. Obviously, I mean, you've only seen the one video on it, most likely, unless you're part of the Patreon crew and you've heard all the tales, but the, overall, there's a lot behind the scenes of like why our studio was very, very different in the way it was constructed than most animation studios can be. The budget is a big piece of that. And without getting too specific or too in the weeds of it, I'll basically say that the majority of animation studios have to make movies or games or shows or series or something, right? Every studio has to make something. And that thing that they make has to either get views, sell copies, sell tickets, something. It has to make money. Or to clients even. Or, you know, it has to deliver to clients, whatever it is. Most animation studios have to provide a product or a service that then generates a return financially to then support the next project. Our studio was actually very different. There were a lot of people commenting and roasting me basically for the way we were handling client work and you know, because I kept saying how we were split focused and we were changing what we were working on and we were spending one budget on other things. And a lot of people took that, I can see why, but a lot of people took that as like, oh, you're spending one client's budget on another project? Like, how dare you? No wonder you failed. That's not at all what was happening. We didn't have clients. We never had a single client. We didn't want clients. We were very in-house for ourselves. The budget for our studio came from another part of the company of my business partner. So like, there was me, there's my business partner. We co-founded the studio. Basically think of it in terms of I was the creative side and he was the business side, in the sense that he was sort of the financial capital piece of it and I was the creative engine part of it, kind of, with some caveats. But ultimately, that's why we were doing music videos, because the part of his business that generated the money that then we used for a budget, it was a music-based business, which is why music videos, what we were going to make. We were going to make animated music videos because the marketing aspect of what we were making, the attention that would draw attention back to the music side of things that then generate more money. And then that would continue to fund. And it's hard to describe it as quickly as I need to move on and get to the rest of the stories. I also don't want to give too many details because it's not my business to share. There's a fair amount of it he shared online, so it's not like I can't say any of this, but I don't want to get too in the details of somebody else's stuff. But the point is, budget-wise of our studio, we didn't have to answer to a client. We didn't have to sell our services. We didn't have to necessarily get views on anything. It was very much we would make a thing, and then that thing would feed into the engine that was already making money. So we didn't have to necessarily be profitable. Profit was not the most important metric of our success, like it is in most cases. Most studios, if they don't have a successful product, they go under. That wasn't how ours went. So when I told people in the video that my whole thing was like, I wanted 3 things. I wanted to hire a team, basically be proud of the work we were making, and make videos on the channel. Those were my personal goals, and I was able to have those personal goals because my goals didn't have to be make the clients happy, make a bunch of money, and profit. Like that didn't have to be my goal was entirely focused on my happiness, essentially, and creative fulfillment. That's why we started it. And so when I wasn't being creatively fulfilled, then I didn't want to do it anymore. And so then I decided I wasn't going to. That's kind of, I mean, that's a very, very small version of the story, but and all that came from the question, where did you find the budget to start the first couple projects? The budget came from within. It didn't come from me personally. It came from the business of my business partner. You can basically think of it as, at the beginning, he hired me to start working on projects that would benefit his business. And through that partnership, we would call it an animation studio. And by working on those projects, we would hire people that then I'd be able to leverage on the stuff that I wanted to do. So it was this sort of joint venture thing where I was sort of hired to build something that then would benefit me in the long term. But it wasn't benefiting me. And it was taking too long and costing too much for it to be super feasible for him as well, because overall the whole thing was just a lot. And because we didn't start off on the right foot, planning wise, budget wise, timeline wise, it made it, I don't want to say like it made it hard to recover from, because that's not really what I want to say. It just made it, we just got started in a direction that we were on for so long that by the time we were like, it was sort of enough had time and resources had passed that we were like, well, we tried. Hopefully that made sense. That's like a lot of context that hopefully was, made sense. I'm working on animation. I'm sorry, and if you're putting new comments, I'm still scrolled up. I'm trying to hit all the comments that I can. I'm scrolled up pretty high. I'm working on animation for a hopeful series or future film for a Hollywood director. Would it be wise for finances and taxes to use an LLC or a studio? Well, a studio, in theory, is an LLC. An LLC is just is an incorporated company entity with the state that you live in. So if you live in the US, in whatever state, you register. If you create a business, you pay some fees and some taxes and some, you pay money, and then you register a business entity with your state and federal government. And then that is your studio. You run all your, your bookkeeping, your accounting stuff. It all goes through the business side so that it's separate from your personal income and expenses and stuff. But yeah, if you are doing any kind of like business stuff with money that is business related in or out, then yeah, you should, in theory, have it separate if it's enough to offset the costs and stuff. And I am not an accountant. I am not a lawyer. Do not take my advice on any of these things. Some legal disclaimer, like I'm not giving advice. I'm just stating my opinions. Allegedly. What are your thoughts on the animation industry in India and the salary in India versus other countries or studios? I don't know. I don't know the state of the industry in India. I know that people don't get paid as much in India as they do in other places, which is common in a lot of places outside the US, but I know that India in particular is not super high paid. I don't know more than that, unfortunately. When doing your studio, were you looking to do client work while working on your main projects? Nope. That was the big goal, is we did not want client work. We did not want to be distracted by stuff that we didn't want to be making, ironically enough. If I'm trying to open a small animation studio, would you recommend I become a 3D generalist or specialize in one thing? I think if you are at that stage, you're probably not ready to start a studio. Just do your thing, just learn your stuff, you get good at it, and then just do freelance. But it's really up to you. It's like whatever you want to do. Don't pick like, I'm gonna be a generalist or a specialist because someone told you you should be. Do what you enjoy doing. Your demo reel and the work that you try to get hired for should be the stuff that you like doing. If you show work that you don't enjoy, you're gonna keep getting hired for it because you're showing it. And you'll be sad because like, I keep getting hired to do these projects I don't want. But you're probably showing those types of projects in your demo reel. So show what you want to do. And then do what you want to do. I was on the workshop last year. It was great. I recommend it. Thank you. How much behind the scenes footage intended to show this? Wait, hold on. How much behind the scenes footage intended to show the studio was shot? I'm guessing there's a lot we'll never see. Greetings from Chile. Yeah, we have a lot of behind the scenes. I will throw it in some other future videos when I can, but yeah, I don't have a specific place to put a lot of it. So there's plenty of behind the scenes footage that'll never go anywhere. There's a lot of footage that I film that doesn't get seen for a lot of different things, but yeah, totally. You always have a job as an animator. Usually you have a temporary contract, don't you? Depends on the studio. I think like DreamWorks is not contract based, but I think Disney is contract based. Don't think Pixar's contract based, but I do think Sony's contract based. I forget. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, it kind of depends. It's very common to have a temporary contract in the industry. Staff jobs are a little bit more rare. Hello, Sir Wade. I wanted to say I found your channel when I first started animating. I binge watched it since then. It really helped me fill some gaps in my brain. New angles to animate from. Glad to hear it. Thank you for watching all my videos. Those of you who just like go on binging sprees watching all my videos, you're the real ones. I appreciate you. Those of you who watch videos here and there, I appreciate you too. But, you know, gotta give some credit to the people who just binge my stuff. I see some familiar names in here. Do you build your own character rigs? If not, can you recommend a website where I can purchase one? I do not build my own characters. I am not talented enough for that. The site that I have been... oh my god, I can't type. My brain is fried. The site that I have been using lately is ProRigs. Which, if I show you the roster here, they've got lots of stuff. I have a whole video on this. If you go to my channel, you'll see a video. It's probably like 10 videos, 6 or 7. I don't know. Like 7 videos old is all these characters, and you can see that I'm using them in my workshop. It's one of the demo scenes for my workshop up here in the top left corner. Yeah, they'll look great. They're all set to proxy mode here, so they're a little bit chunky. They get much smoother and much higher res, but I just have them set to proxy because I wanted speed. Yeah, ProRigs is where I've been getting rigs lately. If I sign up to the workshop, would I be looking at getting the Indie Maya license? You're not required to actually even have a license to Maya to take my workshop because it's mostly lecture and demos and me showing you stuff. You don't actually have to follow along or anything, so don't feel pressured to pay for a license right now, budget-wise. I'm hoping that I can get some kind of a license thing figured out, but I don't have details on that yet, and I can promise nothing. I've had some conversations. That's about all I can say. I don't know if they'll shake out this time around, but most important thing is if you are going to take my workshop, you don't necessarily have to have a license to Maya right now, so don't feel like you need to buy this and then buy a license. Which version do I get? Doesn't really matter. You'll be watching more so than following along. You're welcome to follow along, but yeah, you don't have to. If you were going to get a license in general, yes, Maya Indie is the one to get. Unless you're a student, you can get education for free, but yes, Maya Indie every day. Would you say that Unreal stands to usurp Maya as the industry standard for animation? I don't know about usurp, but yeah, it's going to give it a run for its money for sure. Unreal's going to absolutely be a major player for animation. Do you recommend trying to get into the industry outside of the US, like to move to the States in order to apply, or would you recommend to take the contract project via online? It's really up to you. Take whatever opportunities you can get that sound like fun to you with good people. If there are opportunities outside the US, go for it. If there's opportunities in the US, try for it. Like, I don't think there's any reason to say like, no, don't try it. Always try. I have not yet played with Niagara and Unreal 5. I'm very excited to mess with it though. I saw some stuff at Unreal Fest last year that I haven't gotten the chance to dive into myself. It's been a year since I learned animation. It was a really good course, but I'm losing the motivation to make a demo reel and grow more. So can you give me some advice to overcome this? Go watch the stuff that gets you hyped on animation. Go play the games that make you love animation. Go to a museum of some kind, like the Walt Disney Family Museum in San Francisco, if you happen to live in San Francisco. Like, go experience things that get you psyched about creativity, about animation, things like that. That's a good way to sort of bring back some of that motivation. When you just stay inside and don't experience life, it gets real hard to keep that fire going. With the failure of the studio, are you and the others involved okay now emotionally and financially? Was the learning experience worth the stress and expense, or is it a regret? That's a good, deep question there. I can only speak for myself and those who have shared feedback with me. I apologize if you can hear the siren in the background. Let me wait a second, it's really loud. All right. I'm also like dying, I'm so tired. Ugh. Question was, siren's back. Question was, am I and the others involved okay emotionally and financially? Well, let's see. I can only speak for myself and maybe like half of 2 other people, but I can't really speak for anybody. For me, emotionally, I'm good. Yeah. Financially, I'm no better or worse off than I was at the beginning, which is kind of a bummer, because part of the reason that I was excited to do it was in theory, the salary that I was taking was the number that I wanted for my salary was going to be enough to sustain my bills and have a small amount of savings. I've generally always been pretty paycheck to paycheck, month to month anyway. I was hoping that by doing the studio that I would start to save a little bit financially. That did not happen. I pretty much ended up exactly where I was a year ago financially, which is fine, but also kind of a bummer. So to answer your question, like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm okay. But it's, as far as financially, I would say it's a little bit of a regret, just because I would have preferred to have done something with the last year that would have put me closer to a goal of maybe one day buying a house or something, or having a little bit more cushion. But yeah, I don't know how deep you wanted me to answer that question, but there you go. Can you tell me how much money you lost on your studio? I'm just curious how much it costs to run a studio, pay for freelancers, office, etc. Because of our arrangement, it was a little bit different. I don't have a lot of those numbers to give you. Like, we didn't have an office space. The studio was kind of a remote thing. The physical location that we were utilizing in Utah is basically the content studio basement of my business partner. He has a house and he has a fancy content basement. So that was kind of the main hub of the studio. And then I have my office here that I would work in. I can tell you that my office here in LA is about $1,500 for my office, the space that I'm currently in, and I pay for that thanks to my wonderful supporters on Patreon. That's how I fund this office and get all my work done. But freelancers, I can't give anyone I don't know if I can give people specific rates. I don't know if that's good or bad to do, but I can say on average, I think some of our contract part-timers were in the 20 something dollar an hour range. Other people were flat fee, a couple $1,000s for certain projects. Kind of depends. How did you search and choose people that you would hire in your studio? That's a good question. The way that I would source potential employees or contractors that we'd work with was very varied. The character designer that we worked with was very nice. I found her on Instagram or TikTok. I think Instagram. And then a couple of the other artists that we worked with, I also found through Instagram or TikTok. One person, our intern, I met in person at a convention, at an animation event. And then some other people I just knew personally from before. And then some people were referrals. There was the rigger that we worked with. I didn't know this individual beforehand, but I reached out to some friends of mine who work in rigging and said, hey, do you know anybody? And they connected me with somebody. And so a big mix of social media, in-person, online referrals, the works. Let's see. Would you choose animation again if you go back? Do you mean instead of effects? Yeah, I think so. Motion capture. It's going to be involved with the course? Yes, I will be including some motion capture in this workshop. Not like a whole ton, but a good amount, I'd say. Yeah. I'll be showing my process. I don't know if I'll be putting on the suit like live in the live sessions, but I will have put on the suit, recorded some stuff. We'll be breaking down the raw data, cleaning it up, adjusting it. And then I will be sharing the raw mocap data with everybody in the workshop. So if you want some experience working with motion capture data from the suit, I will be providing that. Both full body capture, facial capture data, and hand data. All of that will be provided to everybody in the workshop. I think that's on the second week. So yes, there will be some motion capture covered. While I answer some questions, I'm just going to let this sit on this screen because it's cooler looking than me. When deciding to start the animation studio, was the unpredictable impact of AI on the industry a business consideration that you discussed? Nope. It really did not affect anything. At one point, I did use... So I'm going to say this very carefully because I don't want anyone trying to take anything out of context here. When I was working on certain design projects within our studio, I used a little bit of AI in the way that I think it's healthy to use AI. I used it as sort of a brainstorming tool of like, what do I want? And I would punch in a bunch of prompts and I would try stuff and I'd be like, I kind of like the look of that. I kind of like the feel of that. I like the vibe of this. I like those colors. And then I would use that as sort of an inspiration to say, okay, now I kind of know the vibe I want. And then I went and I designed something myself. To me, that's a really powerful use of AI because it's the same thing as Googling images or walking on the side and looking at billboards. Like, it's just that you're seeing stuff and it gets your creativity going. And then I went off and I made my own thing. To me, that's a good use of AI. And that's how I used it for, I think, 2 different design related things at the studio. But at no point was I like, generate and done. Like, that's not how I work. But that was the only thing that AI impacted the whole time. It wasn't really an issue. Hi, sir. Thank you so much for the videos. I'm studying 3D to go from 2D, and your videos are incredibly helpful. You're awesome. Thank you. I'm glad they're helpful. When you started the studio, hi V. When you started the studio, did you have concerns about how over-concentrated the indie development scene is now? I.e., more people are doing indie production now than you were before? How do you get traction? No. It's not something I really worry about. The way I see it is what's that? The saying, the cream always rises, right? Like, the good stuff always rises to the top anyway. Not always the case, but I wasn't worried. Because I also wasn't like going in to compete with anybody. There wasn't like a space I was entering that I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing that everyone else is already doing. Like, I just wanted to make different things. Do you think Maya and Unreal Engine 5 are a great combo for creating 3D animated films? Yes, 100%. Maya, Blender, Unreal. Between those 3, I mean, you could make anything. Yeah. Those images are from the workshop if you want to sign up for that. I'm just going to keep repeating that every now and then for new people who pop in who hasn't heard that. What other studio questions do we have here? I can find myself going to the same video a couple of times, specifically the constraint one. Yeah, constraint one's a fun one. I'm listening to while I'm animating, helping me focus. I love when people put my stuff on and it's like a background thing while you work. That makes me feel like I'm actually being useful. So that's awesome. What's the story behind the name Sir? I'm glad you asked. I forget to say this every now and then. I don't know if you guys know this, but my first name is Sir. Like, my legal first name from birth has always been Sir. If you already knew that, type a 1 in the chat. And if you're like, what? Type a 2. If that's like a surprise to you and you like thought it was like a YouTube bit, type a 2. Because yeah, that's my name. I don't just put the Sir in front of Sir Wade for fun. My name. Wade is my middle name, Sir is my first name, so I go by Sir or Sir Wade, which is why anytime people email me and they're like, hey Wade, I'm like, nope. Almost every single time I immediately archive the email because it bothers me. It's just like a nickname that I didn't give someone permission to use. Like, no, my name is, I'm using my full name. Fun fact. And also a heads up that if you ever try to email me or something, don't try to cut pieces out of my name. I didn't used to mind as much, but it's just been so many years of it that I'm like, you know. Let's see. Oh, good mix. A lot of you did not know that. Well, there you go. Yeah. My first name is Sir. There's not much of a story there. That's I mean, there is a story there, but that's the, you know, save that for a video one day. I think I got here too late. I had a lot of questions. No, if you have questions about the whole studio thing, ask away. That is why I'm here. I am here for 2 purposes. 3 purposes. I'm here to talk about the studio stuff, more questions you might have from the video that I made. I'm here to tell you that it's the last chance to buy my workshop this weekend. I'm promoting that. It's literally 2 days away. So if you want in, now's your chance. And then third thing is just to hang out with you guys because I like going live. It's fun. Could someone possibly take your workshop and follow along in Blender, for instance? It's an interesting question. If you take my Maya workshop and your goal is to apply it to Blender, there is a lot of stuff that will transfer over because I show a lot of best practices, a lot of tips, a lot of tricks, a lot of things that you could figure out how to do the similar stuff in Blender. So you absolutely could migrate most of that knowledge, but not all of it. There's going to be some stuff that I show that is like how Maya works, how to use this thing in Maya, how to do that in Maya that Blender just doesn't have. But I'd say there's a good mix. If you wanted my expertise in those areas and you wanted to apply it to Blender, I think there is enough that you would probably be satisfied. But there are also going to be parts where you're just going to have to enjoy the Maya sections, and you know, maybe you'll be like, huh, maybe I'll try Maya sometimes, and maybe you won't. But either way, yes and no. Me and my friend are minors and we are working on a studio. I work on managing things and he tries to get money, but he's not giving back enough to pay who we work with. Wait, hold on a second. Let me read this again. My friend and I are minors and we're working on a studio. I work on managing things and he tries to get money, but he's not giving back enough to pay who we work with. What can we do? Well, I don't fully understand your situation because I'm a little shaky on exactly how this is working. You are working on managing things, so that makes me think that you're kind of in charge of the creative, and he tries to get money. Does that mean he's trying to get like sponsorships or something, or he's trying to get clients? But ultimately, he's not as successful enough in that to pay the people that you're hiring? If I'm understanding that correctly, I mean, bottom line is if you are working professionally, if you're running any kind of a studio or a group or whatever, like you have to pay your artists and you have to pay them a fair rate. Considering that sounds like you're very young and the people you're working with are probably very young, you may have a little bit more flexibility. If there was a person who was an adult hiring minors and underpaying minors, that's bad. If you yourself are, say, 14 and you're hiring other 14-year-olds, as just an example, I mean, it's kind of a volunteer effort at that point anyway, so, you know, any money involved is better than nothing. But that's kind of up to you at that point. I don't know. It's hard to give advice for this specific case. I partially don't understand it, and also the age kind of plays a piece in it. But ultimately, the goal needs to be, you know, creatively, the goal should just be getting better and making stuff that you enjoy and you can grow and learn in your skills. And financially, trying to take care of people. Make sure nobody's being greedy, and you know, do your best to pay people what their stuff's worth. And if you can't afford people, then don't hire people. And you know, earn money first before you spend it. Save some too. Weird question. Did DreamWorks pay weekly, bi-weekly, monthly? DreamWorks paid twice a month, I believe. I think it was like the 1st and the 15th or something. What advice would you give someone starting from square one, zero animation experience? I would honestly just say watch my videos. Watch my videos, Google other videos that you get questions and ideas from, and just start watching people's content. Doesn't even have to be mine, but just start looking at all the free resources out there. And just start downloading the software, downloading the tools and the rigs and the resources, and just start playing around. If you have no experience, just start exploring it. See if you like it, and try lots of different things. See what you enjoy. Is it all right to take a week of break from animation or be burnt out for very long? Yeah, take a break. Totally. I used to have a friend named Mister. I still trip some people up. That's funny. So if I would write an email or letter... Wait, what? So if I would write an email... Technically, yeah. If I were ever knighted, I'd be Sir. As an animator, how do you feel about animating in Unreal 4 and 5? Would you do a video on using it in the future? 100%. I am absolutely going to be making videos on Unreal Engine and animation in Unreal Engine. I just haven't had the time yet. But I will be doing that probably in the next, 2 months. I'd like to do one in May, but we'll see. June, definitely, if not. In the end, was there any creative product output from the studio that you could be proud of? I binged your videos in the past, but have a year or so of backlog. Well, no. No. I don't think I have a single creative project that I'm particularly proud of. That's not to say that I dislike everything I did. There's some stuff in there that I was like, okay, that's not awful. But there's nothing that I would show you and be like, I'm proud of this one. There's a few things that I hate less, but I don't like most of it. Do you ever like to be called Sir, or do you prefer Sir Wade? I'm cool with either one. I'm cool with Sir or Sir Wade. It kind of just depends on the context. When I introduce myself to new people, or I start working somewhere, I introduce myself as Sir. I just go by Sir. But because I've been on YouTube as Sir Wade for so long, that's kind of what I go by content-wise. Because it's a little bit more recognizable than just Sir by itself. Online, anybody could technically be Sir. People wouldn't know it's a name. So online I go by Sir Wade, but in person I usually just go by Sir. But it's either or for those two. Do you outsource your modeling, texturing, and animation? If so, with who? I did have a modeler take care of the rigs, or the models. I don't know. I don't have the permission of everybody I worked with to share their names online. In theory, I think it would be fine, but just in case they want privacy, I'm not going to drop any names. What I will say is that the modeler I worked with one modeler to take care of all the character models that I needed during the time that I was doing the studio. He's somebody I knew from DreamWorks. He then went on to Netflix, and I'm not sure where he's at right now. But super talented guy, super nice. He did great work, and he worked on some really cool stuff. Yes, modeling is outsourced. Texturing, we had that shading intern that I mentioned in the video, and animation, I had some animation done by other people. My goal was to do it myself, but I did have some help for some other smaller stuff that you have not seen. You probably will see in the future at some point. Does ProRigs have their own pickers? I don't know. They might, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure, actually. When will the Maya recordings be available for purchase in the future? I don't think I can make the live course next week. I don't know. I'm not sure what the plan is there. I'd like to repackage it at some point, but I really don't know when and how that's going to work. Hopefully it'll happen soonish, but I don't know. When getting a team of independent artists, how do you keep track of the versions of software and make sure that everything is compatible? There are some tools that you can use that do that for you. Most normal people are not going to be using that set of tools because they're expensive and they're more for like enterprise, studio clients. Like used to be called Shotgun, now it's called ShotGrid by Autodesk. It's a good example of a production management software. But you just have to, you just communicate up front, a team of artists, you just communicate, this is the software version we're using, everybody needs to download this version, Like, I currently use Maya 2023 for everything I do. And if I were working with somebody, if you're working in Unreal or Maya, you just have to establish and say, this is what we're doing, this is what we're working on, and everybody needs to match that. And then you're done. Communication. Yeah, I like this comment. Honestly, little studios shouldn't be worried about AI. You can use it too. Don't blatantly use it to mindlessly puke out content. Use it to take care of small tasks and aid in the concept phase. I agree with that. It's good to aid in the concept phase. It's a great way to put it. I didn't get the discount email for returning students. If you took my Maya workshop last year and for some reason you didn't get the email, you should have gotten the email. I sent it to everybody, but maybe check your spam. If you took my Maya workshop last year and you want to take it again and you want the discount, send me another email or send me a message somewhere. And just make sure you send me your name and or the email that you used to sign up for the last workshop so I can cross-reference. With some experience in creating a studio, how would you have communicated and coordinated better if there was a second attempt? I feel like I covered most of that in my video. I would have been a lot more specific about, okay, we want to do this project. Great. Let's roadmap that project. Not just in terms of like the creative of like, okay, what's going to happen in this project? We want, a storyboard. Because, what do we do? I did, for the music video, I did a rough storyboard turned animatic. That was really loose and really rough. Needed probably a little bit more depth to it. I didn't know any story people that I could hire for it, unfortunately. I did ask a friend of mine who works in story, but he was busy and he offered to give me feedback on what I had done. But what I had done was so basic that I didn't feel it was necessary to show him, just because you can't really give feedback on what's not there. And it was so bare bones. Anyway, I probably would hire somebody, a cinematographer or a storyboard artist or something, to lay out visually what we needed in much more detail. And then in theory we could have had a project manager to do all this next part. But basically, figuring out, we need a model, we need textures, we need assets. Let's make a list of all the assets we need. Let's make a list of all the environments we need. Let's break it up into sections. Let's figure out what that's going to look like. What textures do we need? What kind of shaders are we going to use? What rigs are there going to be? Blah, 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 blah. And make a list of everybody who's going to need to be involved. And then find people who fit the level we're looking for. Reach out to them, get quotes, find out how much it would be in theory if they had the bandwidth. Then when it comes time, we have a full budget, full timeline, all that information. Have a few different contingency plans, plan B, plan C, plan D, in case things go wrong. Find things that are flexible. Identify parts that could be cut or compromised if we need to cut some corners. If we, get short on time and have to lose some stuff, what are we going to cut first? What are we not going to get rid of? Things like that. That's all stuff that I would do in a round 2 for a specific project. And then I'd make my non-negotiables. I'd identify things that are need and things that are want, and then things that are nice to have, things that are different priorities. I feel like I'm literally falling asleep right now. I am so tired from not sleeping last night. I've been awake I think I got up at like 8 yesterday. I've been up for, let me p.m. my time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Plus 24. Ugh, I've been awake for like 31 hours. Blech. I am tired. I started making, this is completely unrelated, tangent real quick. I started making cookies last night because it was like 11:30 or 12, I think it was midnight. I think it was about midnight, and I had to work on something that was going to take me a couple of hours, and I was like, you know what? I want a treat. I want something nice to munch on while I work. And so I went to the kitchen, and I started making cookies, and I do like real cookies, like, you know, butter, sugar, brown sugar, you know, vanilla, baking soda, eggs, you know, you mix it all and you do the thing. I mixed all the wet ingredients, I got all the dry ingredients, and then it was time to do eggs and vanilla as a combining agent, and then put it all together and bake it off. And I realized I didn't have eggs. I had some, but they were old, and I tested them, they were all gone. So at home, I still just have a bowl of butter and sugar with a lid on it, and then I've got my flour and baking soda and salt with a little paper towel sitting on top of it. And that's just sitting on my counter at home right now, waiting for me. So I will, whenever I'm done with my work day today, I will be going to the store. I'll be buying eggs. I'll be going home. I'll be combining all that, hoping it still works after a day, and hopefully there's no issues. And then I'll be making some cookies, and I will just sit and I will eat them and I will fall asleep, and that'll be bliss. Anyway, back to your questions. Reminder, if anyone's new, last chance for the workshop this weekend. It is starting in about 3 days. All right. Do you have a long-term plan for getting an OBE? An OBE? I don't know what an OBE is. Thank you for answering my questions. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Try. As someone who just had to take a 4 to 5 month break from animation because of life stuff and usually hates taking breaks, I took that break and didn't die. So yes, breaks are okay. I agree. Breaks are necessary sometimes. You need them. Are you still doing your Blender course after Unreal or before? I don't know. I don't know the order. Depends on which one I get done first. If I buy the workshop and you become my teacher, should I call you Sir? Call me Sir Squared. How about that? What skills do you think are important for a creative director to have? It depends on like what context a creative director exists within. I mean, a creative director needs to have a strong vision of what is going on, good high-level understanding of the projects that need to be taken part of. It depends, like, do they have a producer to help them? Do they have a project manager to help them? Are there leads or supervisors to actually manage the things on the specific projects? Or are they involved in all that stuff? It sort of depends on the rest of the hiring situation. But I think it's important for a creative director to have the focus and the dedication and sort of the, you know, they need to know what's going on and what needs to happen, and know what pieces to put in place to get it moving. When you started the studio, how hard was it to find projects to work on? Did you have to knock on a couple doors, or did the client find you? You must have joined a little bit after I shared this, but we didn't do clients. We didn't have clients. That was something very specific we did not want. We did not want to have a studio that was for hire, that people could hire us as a service-based company to make stuff for them. We only made stuff for our in-house needs, which made budgets a lot more straightforward and things like that. So that's why we were able to split focus, and why we were able to basically spend one budget on another, because it was our own projects for our own budgets. We didn't answer to anybody. I've done freelance before. I don't love doing freelance. It's typically not my favorite. At this point, I guess I could answer that question with my own personal experience, that like, people email me for freelance stuff from time to time. I very, very rarely take it. Sometimes I'll take little things here and there, but it's very infrequent. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have an idea to convince my teacher that is responsible for our school's iPads that we use at our school to get me an iPad to use the iPad as a graphic tablet to model and animate? Hold on, wait, what? Responsible for our school's iPads that we use at our school. Yeah. I mean, if you're using a MacBook Pro or something, if you're using MacBooks at your school and the iPads work as a graphic tablet for them, then like that's pretty cool. But I mean, just get your school to invest in a Wacom Intuos tablet without a screen. That'll do just fine. It's cheap, it's easy to replace, it's probably within their budget. That's where most people start. It's where I started. Is it possible to create a studio that's nonprofit? Probably, I would think so. Go home and curl up with Luna for a nice long sleep. Yeah, I will definitely be doing that. Aside from making your own IP, for those who don't know, that's intellectual property. Can you speak to how to deal with clients of different sizes, from doing small commission work, single people, to being a subcontractor for large production? Yeah, speak with how to deal with clients of different sizes, from small to big. I mean, I don't know how to answer that question really in a meaningful way. How to deal with clients of different sizes? Do as much research as you can on the types of projects that those types of studios are going to want, what the budgets might be, things like that, because you might charge them different prices, right? Like if you work with a smaller company, they might have a smaller budget, so you might pitch something more reasonable to get your foot in the door with them, or try a fun opportunity or something a little bit more nimble or quick. Whereas if you get a giant subcontract opportunity, you're probably going to charge more. But overall, I mean, you're still being professional and timely and everything else. It's pretty similar. Love all your videos. I was wondering if you will do a dynamic wrinkle animation by any chance. Dynamic wrinkle animation. You mean like this? Like wrinkles on the face? I have a video in mind that would achieve that. I actually cover stuff similar to that in my workshop. Not that exact example, but I could cover that exact example. But yeah, I cover something that would basically accomplish the goal. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm literally falling. I don't feel like I'm falling asleep. I feel like I'm falling. Like I keep feeling like I am actively like toppling over. I think I'm almost like dreaming while awake. You know how when you're really tired and you're laying down and you like your brain is kind of dreaming, but you're not quite asleep yet, and you're kind of like, well, what am I thinking about right now? That's like a dream. That's where I'm at right now. I'm like dreaming in my waking dreams, or whatever you call it. Water wakes you up. Blood sugar's probably low. Probably. I haven't eaten anything. Can you show the music video you made? I cannot. The music video is not yet released on YouTube. The clips I showed you in the last video are all I can show at the moment. Sorry, there's not that much of a delay. The delay is me being slow and being really high up in the chat. When you guys, like, I'll read the next comment that comes in so you know when I see it. I'm waiting for a comment to pop up. Actually, you can tell me how long the delay is. Whoever comments, go to sleep, sir. How long? So, did you 3D print those toys by yourself? I'm saying them as I see them so that somebody can tell me how quickly. Like, oh yeah, it was like 3 seconds after I typed that you said the thing. What do you think about Arcane? 10 seconds. Oh, it is 10. Okay, it is a long delay then. Jeez. Okay, well, let me see. Let me answer the questions. Did you 3D print the toys? No, I did not. I bought Goku in Taiwan. I got Bob-omb either in Japan or just at a local store. No. Bob-omb came from a local store in LA. The Star came from Japan. Toothless was online back when he's collectible. Kirby, some store somewhere. Another Goku over there from Taiwan. What did you think about Arcane? I have only watched the first 3 episodes of Arcane because I was filming a reaction series to Arcane that I never got edited, and so therefore never got to post, and then never got to finish the rest of the series. So I still haven't finished it. I've been holding off in case I wanted to make videos, but it's been a long time since I did that, and I've just been busy. How do they animate the Transformers? They had like crazy custom rigs that would allow them to take any piece of geometry and like rig it and adjust it and play with it. It was really advanced, and they also had multiple levels of complexity. You could turn it to like proxy mode, where it's just like a lump of colored metal, and then you could add to polishing. As you polish more and more, you get all the details, and the rig gets slower. You'd start blocking with really basic shapes, and then you'd get to more complicated mesh versions. What is the most important stuff an animator should learn? I just did a video on that. 20 things every animator should know. You should watch that. I'm gonna jump to my screen share for a second, just to run everybody through this. Workshop. 2 days. Covering lots of stuff. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, for the next 2 weeks, starting this Monday. I don't have the specific details, but we are also, it looks like, going to have 1 to 2 special guest animation lecturers. Or special guest speakers with demos and stuff. I have to confirm with one person that I haven't gotten back to in a little bit, and I have another person I'm meeting with on Monday to talk about the specifics, but going to be very action-packed. Also, there's a morning session and an evening session for the lives, so wherever you are in the world, hopefully there'll be a slot that works for you. Both are exactly the same. I'll just be doing it twice a day so that people can pick and choose where they want to go. It would help if there were more people signed up so that it was like for sure worth it to do all of that extra work to do 2 sections. So if you know anybody who should be in this, send them a link to my course, my workshop. FAQs and lots of reviews. What's down here? Oh, and then there's a little sneak peek. And then this is just a demo file from yesterday. I was working on a demo that I thought would be cool to show you here. So, how do you animate a character that is freezing and shaking from the cold? Is it noise of Anabot, random keys, or handmade? I mean, up to you. Probably just handmade. Just if you want a character going like that, just translate everything left and right, and then offset stuff so it's not all like get like this to go over this way, and then get the head to go different, and then get the body to go slightly different, and just offset everything and go, and you get this vibration. Any tips for marketing your animations, or how to earn money when not working with clients, like releasing short films rather than just doing commission work or being outsourced? Short films and things like that are likely not going to earn you any money. Just as a heads up, if you're trying to earn money from your animation, your best bets are to get hired at a studio or to do freelance. Even my YouTube channel, I don't make that much money from just posting videos. Or second job, it's your animations posted online don't usually generate income much meaningful. Have you seen the Crush ride in Epcot? Yeah, I've seen that. How will they animate that? I don't know. They probably, I'm sure they have like a bunch of different animations that they can blend together. And then the eyes might be something they can control separately, or the mouth or something. I'm not really sure. I have a question? Ask it. If you ran studio management again, you said you'd want to be more confident with, I think we need this, need to do that. Why do you think it's difficult? Asking someone who struggles is... The reason that I struggled with that so much is not because I struggle with being assertive, necessarily. When I was first beginning with the team I was working with, it was that thing where I assumed that I thought that my business partner had more experience with certain things than he did. Let me give you a specific example. I can give you two examples. We were doing the music video, and it was a live action animation hybrid project. First thing we needed to figure out was the live action component. We needed to hire a physical production team to come shoot the music video. Part of me thought I could probably do it because I'm typically good at shooting that kind of stuff. I've done a lot of that kind of work before when I was more in filmmaking than I was in animation. But I wasn't confident that I could do it at the level we needed it to be, and I didn't want to take that responsibility upon myself. So I thought, okay, no, we should hire somebody. And my business partner was like, oh yeah, I already have a company in mind. I already have a group in mind. And I was like, oh great. So I won't get involved. But I did ask at some point, so out of curiosity, what are they going to charge you, and what are you going to get? Because I have some guys that I know that I like to work with that are great. And I don't remember the specifics, but I remember he was like, oh yeah, that's going to be like 10 people for 5 days, and they're going to charge like $40,000 or something crazy like that. It was something massive. I don't remember the details, but it was something really, really big. And I was like, oh my gosh, why? Don't do that. Like, we don't need all that. And I said, we need 2 or 3 people for 2 or 3 days. And I think we can get that for less than 10,000. Or something. I don't remember the numbers were at this point, but, that was the first spot where I was assertive, and I was like, hold on, like I can get us. And then, and I trusted my team. And so my team came, we hired them, they did great work. As always, they're great to work with. That was one where I succeeded in being more assertive. But that was a good example of where, like, I thought, like, oh, like, he already has somebody in mind. Cool, I won't get involved. But I was glad that I had checked, because it ended up being really worth it. A different example where it didn't go as well is with the character rig for the music video, the animated component of it. I hired a modeler, who I mentioned, and he did good work on the character. And basically, we weren't sure who was going to rig it, because I didn't have a good rigging contact at the time who could handle what we needed. And so I reached out to a couple of people, and I ended up getting in touch with somebody that I know who used to work at Pixar for a long time and did a lot of the rigs that everybody here would recognize. I reached out, and they were going to give me a really good price on a super high quality character rig and do all the things I wanted to do and more. And ultimately, it was sort of like I had to sell the idea, like, okay, like we got the model paid for, and now we need to get the rig. And the question was like, okay, well, how much is that going to cost? And I said, well, if we get a good one, it's going to cost X. I don't remember what the number was, but let's just call it X. And that was met with like, oh my gosh, that's a lot more than I thought it was going to be. Let's see if we can find it lower. And I was like, okay, I'll look. And I ended up getting it lower, but it became a choice. It was either we get the expensive one, it's going to take like a month or 2 to make, and it's going to have everything we need. Or we can get the less expensive one. It's going to take a couple of months minimum to get made, and it should have the majority of what we need, but it won't have a face. It's a body rig only, and the face is going to be like a totally different setup with like 2D assets stuck on instead of an actual 3D face. Which I was like, well, we can probably make that work if we need to, and that's ultimately where the decision was kind of up to the financial component. To my business partner ultimately made the call that like, well, let's go for cheaper. Let's save the money, save it for something else. And I was like, oh, okay, well, let's try it. And that's probably the single biggest mistake that I made, was not putting my foot down and saying, nope, we don't move forward unless we pay the more money and we get the good rig. Because man, and to be fair, the rigger who did the rig did a great job. I'm not saying that the rigger did a bad job. The rigger actually did a really great job. But I hired the person who did the rig to generate a rig for kind of a feature animation pipeline. And we ended up doing everything in Unreal. So the rig wasn't like super compatible with that, and I had to make a lot of changes. But more than anything, because the rigger did a really good job, more than anything though, we knew going into it that he wasn't going to be able to provide a 3D face rig. So we had the modeler do two versions, a version with a face and a version without a face, just like flat with like a little nose. And that's the version that got rigged, so no face. That was such a mistake. It was such a hassle and a pain, and it wasted so much time. And anyway, the rigger did a great job. Like, everybody involved did a really good job, except I accepted the response of, let's save the money for something down the road. The correct answer would have been, no, we need this rig to be as good as it can be. Because I can't tell you how much time I wasted as a result of not having the right tool for the job we needed. So, that was a big reason why I look back and I was like, I should have been more firm on what we needed and why and all that kind of stuff. Sorry, it is more comfortable to just close. I'm so tired that I just want to close my eyes and like sit here like this. Which is a terrible idea because I'll probably just like literally fall asleep on this live stream if I sit like this. But I can feel my brain trying to dream as I close my eyes. It's very weird. I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm gonna keep this live stream going for a little bit longer, and then I have gotta go pass out. But that's just more questions. I'm really enjoying these questions, by the way. You guys have some good questions today. Favorite Lego movie? It's funny, last night when I tried to make those cookies that failed because I didn't have eggs and I had to pause, I started watching the Lego movie, the original. I don't think I've seen the sequels. I've only seen the first Lego movie and I love it. It's so good. The Lego movie, in my opinion, kind of did the Spider-Verse thing before Spider-Verse. Like, it's different, but like the Lego movie broke format. Had a different animation style, a totally different look. It was really, it was really good. It was really funny. They had a very specific visual vibe that was such a departure from what we were used to, in the same way the Spider-Verse did. But and it got credit at the time, but I think people have kind of forgotten that it was so monumental at the time. The movie it was a big deal. And the Spider-Verse obviously came and did it again. And credit to the Lego movie. I think it's even the same writers between both shows. What do you think of Love, Death, Robots? I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen any of it yet. I really want to, and I haven't, and maybe I'll do a reaction series to that. Gosh, I thought as much. Just wondering that stuff because you mentioned you didn't want your animation studio to be an outsourced studio. What was your question? Oh, the marketing stuff? Yeah. What kind of project for a studio that most likely earned a lot of profit? I don't know. I don't know, actually. I'm not sure. Hey, sir, my partner and I are starting an animation studio next week. There's a lot of people starting studios, my gosh. My partner and I are starting an animation studio next week with 3 of our friends. Is there any advice you'd give about working with a small team to maximize our work output? Well, watch the video that I made and take the advice at the end of the video. I can skip all that if you will watch that there. But small team to maximize work output, planning, scheduling, deadlines, regular check-ins, and kind of collaborative. Don't get so many meetings and like group work times that it dilutes. Excuse me. That it like takes away from the creative group time. Like, you don't have so many meetings that you're constantly in meetings, you can't just focus. But if you work too solo for too long, your eyes get stale and you start to work less efficiently. Like, you need to be bouncing off of people from time to time. The planning part is huge. Deadlines and budgets and all that stuff that I just said. let's see, there's going to be 5 of you. Pipeline. Everything from like general workflow to the way you export data. Figure it out. Figure out a good way. And make choices that are smart based on your needs, not based on why you like, oh, we think we should use this because we've heard of it. So like Studio Library. I have a video coming out on, yeah, I think that's Sunday's video is Studio Library, proposed library or whatever. Go watch that one when it comes out because you guys can collaborate on a library all together. Save yourselves a ton of time. You can share animation data with each other in the same way. You can use tools like Unreal that allow you to add, multiple people's stuff into one area if you're building a scene together. You could use Omniverse. NVIDIA Omniverse is a great tool that also does stuff like that. You can literally all sync into the same Omniverse session, depending on what you're doing, and like work in the same Maya file all at the same time. Really cool stuff you can do. So yeah, pipeline data. It's all very helpful. How in production do they handle huge assets in Maya? I have a ship, it's a simple 800 megabytes, and it does take a while to save and open. Imagine Avatar-like movie scene. Actually, I can tell you the answer for that. When I was at DreamWorks, we had a tool called Tiber. It was a proprietary tool built inside of Maya. So it was, inside of Maya, it was like a shelf button at the top. You click the little button on top, and it would pull up a window, a plugin that was coded. It was a custom plugin that was coded, but it lived inside of Maya. It's called Tiber. It was for set dressing, set design, layout. And you could load in monumental amounts of data to the computers, and it wouldn't crash Maya because they were all GPU caches. It was specific types of cached data. You weren't just like importing or referencing in meshes, geometry and mesh and all that normal stuff. You were bringing in optimized preview caches that were meant to run on the graphics card and things like that don't bog down your system. So that's something you could do. You can literally take all your ship asset that's really big. Like you can take all that and you can export it as like a USD cache, for example, a USD file, and then bring it back in, and it'll be much more manageable. Things like that. Or a GPU cache you could do. How many people were on the team? On my team? There's me, there's my business partner, we had an intern, we had 3 contracted animation artists at one point. Another one that was like around, but I don't think I ever did anything, so not there. We had a contracted graphic designer, modeler, rigging artist. We had another art person for a little bit. Anybody? And then, yeah, I think and then we had 1 or 2 other people adjacent that we would work with. So call it 10 and maybe 11. I guess you could say 11 at times. We had 11 people that I was including me, that I was working with. So 10 people I was working with fairly regularly. I started loading your videos lately. Thank you. I'm very proud of the last couple of videos. I think they've been good. For the projects you worked at your studio, did you guys have any plugins to help your workflow? Before I started AM, so they used plugins, or is it viable? Yeah, plugins are great. I use Animbot constantly. Studio Library, got a video coming out on that this weekend. Used a couple other little things here and there, but the main ones were Animbot and Studio Library. Actually, I don't even think I used Studio Library that much. I should have, but I didn't need to in this case. Animbot. I also use motion capture to save some time. I think I already know why, but did you consider using some kind of auto rigger like Mixamo or something? No. I don't like auto riggers. They don't do a good enough job for me. Definitely not. You work too hard, I would just end it for now. Almost. Hi, I just got here. Am I at the end? Kind of. I'm gonna be wrapping up fairly soon because I am so tired. If you ever want to save eggless cookies, you can adapt it. Making the shortbread cookies. I wanted chocolate chip, but I did also look up egg substitutes for baking, but I didn't have applesauce or yogurt or any of the things that I could have used. I started to animate stuff, then got into rigging, and now I am a mod for a new title game. Like, oh, and now I'm a mod for a new A title. That's very cool. Congratulations. USD Cash is pretty neat. Yeah. Any advice on how to best coordinate with a team that's fully remote? Set days and or times during the week that everybody's going to sync up with each other, whether they just drop in updates or if there's like a time range where people are kind of chatting. Make sure that there's blocks of time dedicated to people connecting with each other, even if it's just very, very small. Hey, how you doing? Oh, good. Just working. Cool. Nice. Like, just acknowledging each other regularly will help keep the team feeling more cohesive and like a team. I'm a Blender person, mainly modeling an environment, but I want to figure out what character animations, anywhere to learn the fundamentals. My YouTube channel is a good resource for that kind of stuff. Other than that, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure that you could Google stuff. I'm sure there's other things, but I don't know any others actually off the top of my head. Might just because I'm so tired. I'm not sure. So I keep saying that I'm so tired. I'm just like, my vision is like blurring as my eyes try to close. I'm like really focusing to stay focused here. Gotta go. Great stream. Thanks, V. I will get some sleep soon. I think our good needs. I do need sleep. By the way, if anybody knows anybody, please pass this along. We literally have 2 days and some of the stuff from it. 2 days and 6 hours, 17 hours. 2 days left until the workshop starts. If you're thinking about grabbing it, grab it while you can. Get the 15% off code in the description. If you're not thinking about getting it, no worries. But, please send it to somebody who might. In my humble opinion, that's my training that's out there. I stand by that. Do you have any job that you do other than YouTube or workshops? Nope, this is my job. I'm full-time on YouTube. I will apply at studios though and grab another studio job as soon as I make a new demo reel. 4 a.m. here. Both need sleep. True. What did you think of the new Disney trailer for Wish? I have no idea what you're talking about. I haven't seen it. Actually, I did see something called Wish somewhere. I saw like a post, but I haven't really been on social media. I've just been working, so I haven't seen it. Yeah, JD's channel. Parker made a really good point. JD's channel is a really, really good resource as well. 100%. I should have thought about that. I am just tired. Official. That is because I always think of JD's channel. Yes, great resource. Any particular reason why you don't stream on YouTube and Twitch at the same time? I don't like to dilute the community. As in, if I were live on both platforms right now, some people would be on Twitch chatting with each other, some people would be here on YouTube chatting with each other, and I would probably be able to read questions from both, but the audiences can't interact together. I like that mingling, and I also like this kind of standard of like, on YouTube, emotes and emojis and stuff, they're not that big a deal. They are on Twitch. Like, the culture is different between the two apps, and so I don't see a reason to stream on multiple in my case. Because the people who follow me on Twitch, in theory, they follow me on YouTube too. I have a bigger audience on YouTube, so I don't have much incentive to go live on Twitch these days. All right. I think let's call it here. Hopefully this was insightful and helpful for those of you who wanted to know more information about the whole studio venture. Thanks for hanging out. I wasn't sure if anyone was going to come. We actually had a lot of people show up, so thanks Thanks for being here, everybody. Thanks for asking such good questions. Final reminder, as I've said many times, link to my Maya workshop. This is the last weekend you can participate if you want to sign up. It starts on Monday, goes for 2 weeks, cover everything I know how to do, lots of cool examples, guest speaking animation demos that we're going to have from professional animators who are going to come do some cool stuff with us. So definitely come and participate if you can, and share it with a friend if not. Send it their way. All right, with that, happy Friday to those of you where it's Friday where you live, and have a great weekend. I will see some of you next week starting Monday for the workshop, and for the rest of you there will be a video to watch, I think, on Sunday. So, please watch that video. It'll be good. Actually very happy with how it came out. All right. Bye, everyone. I'm gonna go sleep.